Person would be tougher. Where is this chest? Oh my. Wow, that is... Is it the bottom of this? Because this is one deep-ass lake. This is like fucking Loch Ness. Damn. Except for Loch Ness is like way deeper. And larger. And impossible to see in. Y'all ever been to Loch Ness? Fucking crazy. Like, it's awesome, but man, is it crazy. So we found a key. But we didn't find any indication of what the key goes to. Or where it might be. The good news is, in time it'll be a better video. I mean, I'm not upset with it. I'm still overall happy with the video. And it provoked a lot of really interesting debate and conversation, so I'm really happy with it in that sense. The engagement is good. I just wish I had done my due diligence better. Oh, maybe the birds are flying over it. Yeah, there it is. All right, so we got 2 more over here. Is that tier list still on my to-do list? Yes. Yes. Yes, it is. Though I will confess that I may have forgotten about it till you just reminded me. Because I'm a bad person. A little something about a rat? I don't know what you're talking about. Rats aren't real. Istian, Underling. Good to see you guys. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a great day. You'll guilt trip me till I make it. I'm already too embarrassed about it. There's literally nothing you can do to me at this point. My suffering is already eternal. You've heard about Mice People? Yeah, I really love that movie, especially when I was a kid. What's His Face Goes to America? Great film. Stuart Little? No. Yeah, Fievel. There you go. I was like, I can't remember his name. Do we know anything about the Sienna career for Vermintide? Only that my conspiracy theory is that it's a necromancer. And that it should be coming out either with or after the next major update to the Trail of Treachery FLC. That thing was based off Ratatouille. Oh my god. That's hilarious. Dude, now I want Ratatouille art. But it's like you make the human character underneath Ratatouille into like a horrifying four-armed like human that's been like stitched together. Oh my god, that'd be so bad, but so good. And these Cyclops really like defending treasure. Bitch. I'm taking my boat to the other side of the island. I love how Sigmar is based off the God Emperor. How dare you? Don't you dare compare Hammer Jesus to that piece of shit. Sigmar never would have betrayed the Thunder Warriors. God Emperors are better dad, though. I disagree immensely. Sigmar didn't even know he had sons, and he was still a better dad than the God Emperor was. Granted, in Sigmar's defense, he only had 2. He only had twins instead of 20 kids that he grossly abandoned and pretended that 2 of them didn't exist. Yeah, Sigmar was a way better dad. And his kids were made the proper way with an Amazonian war queen. Not as in actual Amazons, but as in like she was Amazonian in her aspect. Never mind. The only kid the God Emperor treated decently well was Horus. Yeah, look how that turned out. I heard Sigmar does yoga. Can I confirm? Sure, why not? Is Belagar the worst dad? I think by human standards, Belagar is not a very good father, but by dwarf standards, he's a very good father. It's just that he let his desire of wanting to give his son a better life than he had overwhelm his priority of giving his son the best chance of survival, which is not good, obviously, but it was not, you know, he had good intentions even if he made the wrong choices, but ultimately it didn't matter. Like, his son would have died no matter where he went. If anything, who knows, maybe it truly was better because his son got to at least die like fighting side by side for his people in a final stand, and he also died painlessly to poison wind gas instead of being like hunted down and tortured, which almost assuredly would have happened. Isn't it a little concerning that Thorgrim doesn't seem to have a clear heir? No, that's pretty normal. I mean, the High King before Thorgrim, Alricsson, also didn't have an heir. They have procedures. It's not that big of a deal for the High King. Actually, in most cases, I do believe they will pass it down, but generally speaking, they tend to prefer if there is an heir, the High King will be a hereditary title, but it is not unusual at all for it not to be hereditary. I would say actually in the vast majority of cases, it's not a hereditary. Did Thorgrim kill a giant? No, that was Ungrim. Ungrim killed a really fucking big giant. Thorgrim reestablished connection with the Norskin dwarves. And also brought back a lot of lost treasures from, I forget which hold it was. But he brought back a lot of treasures from some lost holds. And based on the record of the giant that Ungrim killed, it seemed more like he killed a bone grinder giant than a regular giant, because the giant he killed was like fucking obscenely huge. It was way bigger than a regular giant. What? Oh my god. They're not dying in one shot. Oh no, this is nightmarish. I don't like this timeline. It just got way scarier. Who were his competitors? The major competitors against Thorgrim. The most major competitor was Ungrim. But there was like a number of claimants. I think every hold had a claimant. Yeah, I think Belagar's dad was one of them. It wasn't Belagar himself. It was I believe it was Belagar's father. I forget what his name is off the top of my head. I mean, it was 200 years ago, so. Wow, Draenors are way fucking scarier when they take multiple hits. Please die. Please die. I said please die! Oh my god. No, Duergar is his cousin. Duergar is the cousin of Belagar that arrived with reinforcements during the Battle of the Jaws. Which is one of the funniest battles to me in Warhammer Fantasy history, because both Skarsnik and Belagar counted it as a win. I was under the impression that Belagar's fairly young. Belagar's at least in his late 200s. Why are dwarf names so cringe? Ask Tolkien, I guess. I'm sorry, have you read The Hobbit? Well, Troll Slayer Belagar is very different from modern Belagar, but modern Belagar is still quite old. Like, he's at least in his late 200s. Troll Slayer Belagar is like a crippled old man. Who's he's very different. Why do so many names have Grim and Grudge and stuff? Because Games Workshop is not original with their names. And they want a lot of their characters to be like, it's very on the nose. That's like asking why is Krokar named Croc, like a crocodile, because he's a lizard. Or Lord Croak, because he croaked, and he's also a fucking toad. Or Tic-Tac-Toe. Or Morgiana Le Fay, totally not being based on a very similar character. What about Queek Headtaker? Is the oldest dwarf / Skaven currently Gotrek and Thinkel? God, no. No. Thorgrim is way fucking older than Gotrek. Gotrek wasn't even around for the great battle against for the war against the battle against Kislev, or the battle the Great War against Chaos. He wasn't even around for that. The oldest Skaven alive? No, it's not Skrulk. No. Skrulk's old, but he's not that old. The oldest Skaven alive is probably Kritislik, or someone else on the Council of 13. Lewin is based off Lionheart. Lewin is French. Yeah, but Arthurian legend is English, so... Oh, in Age of Sigmar. Oh, yes. Yeah, in Age of Sigmar, Thankful is definitely the oldest, yeah. And Gotrek is... Yeah, sorry. In Age of Sigmar, yes. Gotrek and Thankful are the oldest. Unless you count Grombrindal and Screech Vermin King, in which case they're the oldest. Or if you're counting Grugni, in which case he's the oldest, and if you're counting the Great Horned Rat, then he's the oldest. Okay, Brother Red, you're technically correct, which is the best kind of correct, but also, you know, modern interpretation, if you were to go up and ask anyone their understanding of Arthurian legend, is it, what nation is it? They'd say, oh, it's English. How did Gotrek survive the end times? By punching it in the face, literally. He just kept chopping up demons or punching demons in the face until he was no longer in the end times. And he was very upset about it. And generally regarded it to be a bad idea. Just like how the Ovian modders are technically correct. By a certain interpretation, yes. Which is why I've gone out of my way multiple times, and in the video I even went out of my way to say how, like, there is no true version of lore accuracy. Purely subjective. You think Arthur was a Skaven? Sure, why not? There's a theory that King Arthur was a Roman. I feel like if you ask enough, I'm not calling you this, I'm just saying this in general. If you ask enough armchair historians, they'll say everything was Roman at some point. No, Brandon, you're all good, dude. I'm not angry. It's just, I'm just explaining the situation for anyone that's joined chat late. I'm more than happy to talk about it. Ah, get off my boat. No freeloaders. Even though I stole this boat and didn't pay for it. Please, God, let me off. Modders were like, tell me you haven't seen the video without telling me you didn't watch the video. Well, I don't think that's necessarily fair to them. Like in the aspect of they were upset at me calling their stuff lore inaccurate, sure, you can say that. But in the aspect that they were upset that I said that they pulled their mod from the Warhammer Armies project when instead they pulled it from the Warpstone magazine, they had every right to be mad at me. And also, like, I was just objectively wrong about the Boglars. Like, I was just flat out wrong about the Boglars. I don't really like Boglars because they're very weakly sourced because they're only mentioned once in the entirety of the canon, and it's in a White Dwarf magazine. And there's a lot of shit in White Dwarf magazines that I am not a huge fan of because it doesn't mesh well with the rest of the universe. For instance, Amazons having literal laser cannons as weapons. But by my own rules, Boglars joining forces with the Famir and being in an army list with them makes total sense, because the only mention we have of Boglars from White Dwarf specifically notes that they that those Boglars that live specifically in the Marshes of Madness have supposedly allied with the Famir there, which, granted, that's a very narrow situation. You know, it's not that all Famir have Boglars, it's literally just the Famir native to the Marshes of Madness. But nonetheless, once again, that makes them technically correct and me technically wrong. Was Gotrek were Gotrek and Thanquil and AOS during the Age of Myth? No, they only showed up during the Age of Sigmar. They were both locked in the realm of, well, in their respective other places. Please die. Thank you. Let me up. I want to breathe. Are Cygors decent combatants? No. So Cygors, they only have one eye, which if you have one eye, that automatically means your depth perception is not that great, which is going to make fighting a little more difficult for you because you're going to have a hard time gauging about what's going to hit you and what's not going to hit you. Second of all, Cygors' only eye also does not allow them to see physical reality. They see it very, very loosely and vaguely. They can see magic as if it were real, as if it were like reality, and they see reality like most people see, or those who can see magic, which is to say that they only have a very, very faint impression of everything around them, because the only way they see it is how magic interacts with things. How do they hit anything with the rocks? They're throwing magic rocks. As for how do they hit things with it, they have a vague idea of where you are, because they can see the winds of magic kind of hitting you. So, like, they can see the disturbances that your presence causes in the winds of magic, and they throw something really fucking big in that general direction. And thankfully, what they're throwing is large enough that they're vaguely going to hit you. But from a tabletop perspective, Cygors are not very accurate. The odds that they would actually hit you right on were only 1 in 6. Because, actually, no, it was 2 in 6. It was a 1 in 3 chance, actually. But if they misfired, it would cancel out the hit. So I'd have to do some math, and I don't like doing math with fractions, so I'm just not. So, okay, somebody in chat that's good with fractions, what's a 1 in 6 chance multiplied with a 1 in 3 chance? Well, wait, no. No, it'd have to be a 5 in 6 chance against a 1 in 3 chance. Maybe. I'm not gonna worry about it. That's my answer. It's a shooting gallery. Yeah, but that's why, so weapon skill, in Warhammer Fantasy, weapon skill is a statistic that determines how good you are at hitting things in close combat, and Cygors have a weapon skill of 2. You know what else has a weapon skill of 2? Skinks. And, like, Snotlings. Even goblins have a weapon skill of 3. Well. Secret boss fight! Oh. What if Ungrim became the god of Akshi instead of Grimnir? Ungrim should have been the god of Akshi, and Thorgrim should have been the god of metal, based on how they established the works. Grugni and that, oh god, don't even get me started, dude. Do not even get me started on that shit. They bullshitted the dwarves so hard, and I'm still salty about it. Because by the rules they established in the end times, the Wind of Fire and the Wind of Metal belong to Thorgrim and Ungrim first, and those should have been the incarnates. Like they gave the godship to 2 characters that never ever fused with those winds, and it makes me so salty. Because by the same logic, the elves, it should have been the gods of the elves that got to become the new gods. Like Aisha should have been the god of life, not Alariel. How about Grimgor? What about him? The only thing worse is Big Bird. There's a couple of weapon skill 1 things in the game, but they're pretty rare. Am I cool with Gorka Morka? Yeah. Like, I guess. Because, like, you could argue that, like, it all feeds back into Gorka Morka. And I also much prefer the idea of, like, all the greenskins getting to benefit instead of just orcs. But you did point out a notable flaw in my logic there. That being said, I want Grombrindal. I would love for Grombrindal to take over as the incarnate of, well, kind of like how Sigmar doesn't actually fight in Age of Sigmar, but the what's it called? The Celestant Prime is basically the god of heavens when it comes to like actual gameplay and stuff. I would like Grombrindal to be that for the Wind of Metal, and then I just want Gotrek to be the god of fire. Like Gotrek literally has the greatest chunk of divinity out of any of the Fire Slayers, and also has the biggest chunk of Grimnir inside of him. So like, give him his god pass already. Especially after Soul Slayer. Like, I feel stronger than ever they're setting up Gotrek to be the god of fire after Soul Slayer, because they got rid of the one thing holding him back, which was Maladeth. Which was shocking to me, I will say. I did not think they were going to do that. No one can accuse, not Geimer, I'm having a brain fart. No one can accuse Darius Hink of not having balls. Darius Hink has massive balls. Like, goddamn, what an author. It's so rare to see Black Library authors actually do that. Fuck. Get me out of here. No way the plot's actually moving somewhere? I know, right? Moving plot? Consequences? This doesn't feel like Black Library at all. Oh, I need to, there's a pill I gotta take real quick, chat. Excuse me for a moment. The TCU game is starting soon. I can sense the tension in